Hi guys, it's Chandra again. Chandra Law, the resale store of your dreams. Chandra Law is my store name on eBay, guys. I do eBay in my spare time as a second income. I'm a full-time nurse otherwise. But today's something a little different. We have done on this channel several haul videos because I have a ton of inventory that I actually need to get through because I need to stop buying more stuff. But today we have something a little bit different. As you can see, it's spring. I'm wearing a fun dress. I got a good bow in my hair. It's kind of the things that I like to do. So today are something a little bit different. I'm going to talk to you about what sold for me in the month of March. Now this may end up being a long video, so if you don't want to stick around for the whole time, you don't have to. If you would like to just go to the link in the description below to see my store, you can, and then just click sold items and look through what's sold on your own. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of do a rundown of what sold. I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it or what my net profit is. I will tell you the gross profit all together in total, what it sold for, what I originally had it priced for, because I did take some offers on all of this. With each of my items that I sell on eBay, the buyer does pay shipping, and that is a calculated shipping based on the weight of the item. I do not charge any additional handling fees. From March 1st through March 31st, I sold a total of 51 items for a total gross sales, and that includes shipping, of $2,047.98. I will post pictures here of the item that I'm talking about, and you can follow along and see what sold for how much. And I will be reading that off of my phone, so I hope it doesn't get too boring. I will try to keep it lively, woo woo, and exciting. The first item I have is a T Collection hooded dress. It was a girl size 10. It had a fun little like dragon design on the sleeves, and it was a sweatshirt material. I originally had that listed for $24. It did sell for $20 plus the shipping. The second item I have was a Patagonia. This was a boring Patagonia piece that I probably shouldn't have picked up, but it ended up selling, so that was good. It was part of their worn wear line, just a single pocket tee. It was a size extra large, so it did have that going for it, and it was made out of a hemp cotton blend, so I think that's what helped it to sell. I originally had it listed, I believe, for $29, and I took an offer of $20. The next thing I had was Orvis cashmere pullover sweater. It was a size extra large. I had that listed for $39, and I sent out an offer of $30 that was accepted. Oh, this one was perfect for the month of March. So this was a sweater made by Emerald Isle. It was a crew neck sweater. It had fun, I'm probably going to pronounce this incorrectly, a clada across the front and shamrocks and all those St. Patrick's style things on it. That sold March 3rd, and it was originally listed, I believe, for $50. It was $49.99, and I took an offer of $44.99 for that. After that, on the 4th, I sold this Eagles Farewell Tour t-shirt. It was just a basic tour t-shirt in a light blue, had a logo graphic on it. It was originally listed for $19.99 and sold for $15. That was a bad buy. I probably shouldn't have purchased it, but you know, it happens to everybody, right? At least I made my money back. Next, okay, so this is a lingerie bralette and panty set that I had initially bought for myself. When it came to me, I didn't like the color. All things about it were not okay for me. It looked cute on the person when I saw it to buy it, and when I got it for myself, it was a no. So it's a Savage X Fenty lingerie set, and I initially listed it for $39 and took an offer of $34. I did buy that on Poshmark and did not wear it and resold it. It still had all of its tags attached and everything. So it was a no-go. The next thing was kind of exciting for me because I very rarely find Free People in good enough condition to buy, let alone new with tags. So this is a Free People camo crop top. I found it brand new with tags. I actually found two of them, one in a small and one in a medium. The medium is still listed. This is the small that sold. And it sold for $30. I initially had it listed for $39 and took the offer for $30. Next, remember how we talked about in one of those haul videos about the Under Armour base layers? This is a pair of the base layer pants, the 4.0 Cold Gear. They are women's. I had them listed at $39 and took an offer of $35. This one, another, I would say bad buy, but how wrong can you go when coffee mugs are 69 cents a piece, right? Paid 69 cents for the coffee mug. It's been listed for like 2 years. Finally sold on March 7th for $13. They paid the shipping. It got there safely. They were happy, and I was happy to watch it walk off of my shelf. Next is a pair of J. Crew linen blend shorts. These were so adorable. I didn't realize, unfortunately, that they had a small spot on the front, that they weren't worth enough to spend the time to stain treat. So I went ahead and sold them, just pointed out the flaw. I had them listed for $24. I took an offer of $20. This next one is one of my favorites. It is a children's vintage Easter dress that was all polka dotty. It was so flippin' cute. It sold on March 8th, had some ruffles, had some poofiness about it, just super cute. That sold at a full price of $34.99. Next is a pair of Calso Earth Mary Jane shoes. So there are several brands with the name Earth in the name. When you find these shoes in particular, they only say Earth. They don't say Earth Origins or Earth blah, 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 or whatever. They say Earth. That's it. It's all lowercase and it has like a whoosh underneath it. We'll put a logo in here somewhere where you can see that. They're designed by a woman with the last name of Calso, and it has a backward technology. I don't remember exactly the details of it, but essentially it keeps your weight on your heels as opposed to on your toes, and it's supposed to help with balance and comfort and the way you wear your shoes. Regardless, usually those shoes do fairly well. Somewhere in this $30 range. There was a point in time when I could sell them for $50 to $60, but they're not as popular as they once were. So $34.99 is a decent sale price, and that's the full price that I had them listed for. Next is a Faherty, which I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It was a linen tie-dye dress, very cute, white and blue, very spring, beachy. I had that listed at $49 and I took an offer of $40. Next is a set of Conair hair rollers. Now, if you see these in the store for $5 or less, they're usually worth buying. They are often utilized by pageant moms for their kids to curl their hair. This one even had some damage. There was a crack across the top of the lid. It still sold, full asking price $29.99. Depending on the model, you can sometimes get closer to the $40 range, but with the damage this had, I went ahead and took that. Next is a J. Crew cashmere cardigan. It was an extra small and it was an ivory. This one sold for $25. Unfortunately, this one had a flaw that I did not realize. So I went ahead and sent it, and the buyer pointed out the flaw, which I had missed, and I did refund them their money. Because it was my mistake, I allowed them to keep the item and still went ahead and refunded them. I typically will make them send it back to me if it's like a listing error, not an error with the item. This actually was a flaw in the item that I couldn't repair even if they sent it back to me. So they can keep it and they can keep the money for it. It's not a big deal. Sometimes in business you have to deal with losses. Next are a pair of Paige Lennox men's jeans. These were in one of my haul videos and they did sell within the week I listed them. They sold for $30. I had them listed for $34.99, so I took a $30 offer. Next is a Jules rugby striped sweatshirt. This was a hoodie. It was in pretty good condition. I want to think there was a spot on it, which is why I took $17 for it. Typically I can get over $20 for Jules, even in the children's sizes. but I went ahead and took 17 for this one. Next is a Chaser t-shirt. Now, this is not a brand that I seek out by any stretch of the imagination, even if it's a really cool design. But this had the Journey Scarab design on it. It was very brilliant in color, looked like it hadn't even been washed. It was just very nice and very good condition. So I went ahead and bought it, and I listed it for $29.99, and it sold for $29.99, and that's a pretty good return on a t-shirt. It was also sort of that baby t-shirt style where it's very thin through the body with the short cap sleeves, so it did very well. Next was something that I bought on a whim, and I still have another thing listed from it. So this is the Michigan Cherries lacrosse team, which is a college lacrosse team. I found a sweatshirt and a t-shirt from the team, and they were just really cute. Like, the logo's really cute. On the t-shirt, it says something about getting juiced. It was just too cute to pass up. So I went ahead and bought them, and the sweatshirt actually sold for full price $29.99. It did take a little while for that to sell. Next is a Tommy Bahama reversible dress. Now, I don't buy all Tommy Bahama, and not all Tommy Bahama is equal by any stretch of the imagination. This one in particular, I looked up while I was at the store and kind of went through sold comps and realized that it was selling pretty consistently for that $30 to $50 range, depending on if it was new with tags or not. And so I went ahead and bought it, and mine was a medium, which is always better to be on the bigger side than the smaller side. So if it had been an extra small, I might have thought about it a little harder than buying it, but a medium is okay. It did take a little bit to sell. I think I had it listed for about 4 or 5 months, but it sold for my full asking price of $39.99. Next is a pair of Magpul tactical pants. Now, these my husband bought, and he didn't end up wearing them. So because he didn't end up wearing them and they were new with the tags, I went ahead and relisted them. We sold them for $39.99. I don't remember what he paid for them, but it couldn't have been more than that. We kind of buy our stuff on the cheap. So, but they were in perfect condition, brand new with the tags. Next is a Lucky Brand Southwestern Duster cardigan. Now, I bought this for a couple of reasons. Lucky Brand isn't the best brand, and an extra small is always a hard sell. But this had a really great pattern and really great colors. It was very lightweight, so perfect for spring, but still keeping that Southwestern vibe going. Very beachy. So I went ahead and bought it, and it sold for $25. I did have it initially listed for $29.99. Next is another vintage kids dress. This one's very cute, and this is a pretty consistent vintage brand for children called Polly Flinders. It's not top dollar, but it does sell consistently. I had this listed for $24.99. It did have some flaws, and it sold for the full price of $24.99. Next is a vintage lingerie piece. I do enjoy finding and selling vintage lingerie. It is sort of a unique niche market, so you very much have to see what are you buying, what kind of shape is it in, is it a style that would still sell now. Not all vintage lingerie is going to sell. You can't buy something that looks like an old fuddy-duddy and expect it to sell. It may not. Anywho, this was a very sexy satin nylon bodysuit that had ties across the chest and abdomen. It was just very wedding night-esque. Very cute, and it sold for $32.51. I actually had it listed for $39.99. Got that as an offer and went ahead and took it. Okay, guys, this was in one of my haul videos. Do you remember? Okay, I told you that these Salesforce items sell, and they sell for decent money. Here you go. The Salesforce Trailhead Hawaiian shirt sold within the week I listed it for $45.99, and that was my full asking price plus shipping. So I told you I would give you some goodies. There is one. Next is a pair of North Face ski snow pants. Now, these were an older style. These were from probably the early 90s, well, probably late 90s Y2K era. They are a flared leg pant, and I saw them at the store, and they were inexpensive, and I thought, you know, let me just see, because snow pants are usually universal, they'll sell. When I happened to look up this style in particular, they were selling like hotcakes, ridiculous amounts of money. These sold for $50. That's insane for a pair of vintage snow pants of all things. But the buyer was very happy with them, and I was happy to watch them go to somebody else. My actual asking price initially was $59.99. They sent me an offer of $50. I said okay. The next pair is a pair of shorts by Vuori. So these shorts are sort of like an outdoor, kind of like a, sort of similar to like a Lululemon meets Carhartt. You know, they're a little more sturdy than Lululemon, but not quite as utilitarian as Carhartt. Regardless, I have done very well with some Vuori pieces. These did not seem to be the top of the line or the most wanted style. So I had them listed for $39.99 and I got an offer for $27. We actually had gone back and forth several times and we landed on $27. And for the price that I paid for them, that was an okay deal. It wasn't the best deal, but I made out okay. Next is a Hell Bunny dress. Now, the dresses in my area are very expensive. I mean, just across the board, the starting price is expensive. So when I buy a dress, it has to meet certain criteria. This in particular is made by Hell Bunny. Hell Bunny is often sold at places like ModCloth, Hot Topic, places that sell sort of that goth vibe clothes or that vintage vibe clothes. It was new with the tags and it had a small spot on it. But because of the pattern, it was very unique and there weren't any others listed. And even though it was only a size medium, it was a fit and flare style. It had some glitter about it. It was just really pretty and perfect for spring. And I had it listed at $45.99. It did take probably a year to sell, but it sold for my full asking price and the buyer was ecstatic, left me a wonderful feedback for that. Next is a vintage 80s jumper dress. This is super cute, bright colors, floral with polka dotted pockets, adorable. I had it listed for $24.99 and it sold for $20. This is a bunny rabbit plush toy. It was from the 90s. He had little bunny feet. Oh, it was so cute. The bunny was wearing bunny slippers. How freaking adorable. And he had his own blanket. It was just so cute. And this actually sold on March 18th. And I believe that was after Easter this year. So it sold for my full listing price of $29.99. So if you do sell stuffed animals, I recommend you looking into buying vintage ones. Aha! What did I say? Salesforce items sell and they sell for a decent profit. Here's our next example. This is a Salesforce mug. It was new, had all of its little paperwork inside of it, perfect condition. It just had the Salesforce logo on it. The mug in and of itself, nothing special, something that was probably printed off of one of those like Uprint sites, and $29.99. Sold right away, and even sold through international shipping. So the person who bought it lives overseas and paid more than that $30 to get it. Next is a BMW Golf Sport jacket. I find that expensive cars, if you find the clothing that has the branding that matches, you can often make a decent profit on that. Now this jacket I had listed and delisted and kept off the site for a while and then relisted again, and I had it listed at $39.99. I got an offer for $30 and I went ahead and took it. It did take quite some time to sell. This is a Logo by Lori Goldstein top. It was a 2X, which was a great size, and it's a mauve color, which is good for spring. It had some lace. It did have a stain on the lower portion of it, so I went ahead and took this lower offer of $23. I had it listed at $29, but with the stain, you know, it's okay. This one, if you are aware of what's happening in fashion, you would understand why this sold for so much. So Y2K fashion has been very in for the last year, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. mini purses, mini purses that have branding that was popular in the late 90s, early 2000s are very in right now. So Playboy and Coach and BB and Juicy Couture. Those brands in little mini bags are very, very sought after right now. I happened to find this Playboy bunny purse at a thrift store. It was very inexpensive and it happened to be new with its tags. So I went ahead and listed it. Now I had it listed at $79.99. I got an offer for $50. With what I paid for it, $50 was an amazing offer. I was willing to take it. It did sell through the international shipping program, so it went overseas, and they paid quite a bit of money for it. And this person was excited to receive it. I got wonderful feedback. This next item is by St. John. So if you are unaware of what St. John is, it is a very high-end luxury brand. Typically they do suiting and clothing items that are like party, cruise, evening out, very expensive. Think modern day Jackie O. Very classic, very timeless, very expensive. Always looks put together. That's really the style. So this was a Santana knit cardigan sweater. They have a particular knit, has a specific texture and a specific makeup. A portion of it is wool. I will find the definition of what's in a Santana knit and put it on the screen for you guys. But this is a very high quality item, and when you feel it, you'll know. This particular sweater had a lot of damage. I had it listed at $79.99 and it sold for the $70.99 that I had it listed for. Had it been in perfect condition, I probably would have listed it for $100. But I was happy to get the $80 that I got. This sweatshirt. So this one was a disappointment for me, only because when I initially purchased it, I found one just like it on eBay that had sold for $300. So of course, when I found mine, I was like, oh my God, I hit gold. Not so much. So I had this sweatshirt listed for 2 years. Nothing. Literal nothing. No one was interested. I got no offers. I barely had any likes. It just sat and sat and sat. Now mine had some damage, so I expected less from it. I think I had it listed initially at $150. Nothing. Nobody wanted it. Nothing. Well, as happens sometimes on eBay, the listing fell off and I left it off for a while. Then I decided to relist it. When I relisted it, I listed it for $70. I got this offer for $51. Took it. Take it. Get it off my hands. I don't want to see it anymore. I'm tired of it. It's been here forever. But they were happy to get it. It is a vintage, real vintage Seinfeld Kramer portrait sweatshirt. It was made in the 90s when Seinfeld was actually on TV. So they got a good deal. I got a good sale. Regardless of how disappointing it is to see something that has so much value and realize that yours doesn't have that kind of value, that is a disappointment. I still made really good profit on this item and I would buy it again if I found it again. Next is another vintage 90s Easter dress. This is just very cute, very classic. Pink, had embroidered flowers, poofy sleeves, just adorable. I had it listed at $29.99 and got an offer for $23. This thing, I was so happy to see this go. So vintage linens often can be valuable. Not this one. This puppy sat around for like 4 years, finally sold. I had it listed for $19.99. I got an offer for $12 and I was like, please take it. I don't care. I will drive it to your house and drop it off just so I don't have to look at it again. I was very happy to see that go. This item was in one of my more recent hauls. It is a vintage Indiana University cardigan for babies. It was just really cute. It was in pretty good condition. I listed it at $19 and got an offer for $15. It was teeny tiny and it cost next to nothing, so I was happy to move it to a new home. This is a Harley Davidson Red Rock Las Vegas t-shirt. It was in really good condition, but I don't do terribly well with Harley Davidson's t-shirts. They're more substantial items like vests or jackets or pants or chaps or boots. I do pretty well with, but just t-shirts not so much. So I had it listed at $24.99 and it sold for $20. Next is a pair of Under Armour golf shorts. These were a size 34. This was just a good price for me to buy at the time, and I had them listed for $24. Went back and forth with the buyer a handful of times, and we settled on an offer of $18. Still brings me a decent profit. I don't know that I would buy the color and the size again. I think those were the two things fighting against it. If it was like a black and a consistent, you know, this is a basic you would wear with anything, or if it was some wild print, then I would get it again. Or if it were even a larger size. So if these were a size 40, I would buy them and they would probably make more money. But being that they were a 34, which is a common size, and they were a blue, which is not a particularly popular color in shorts for men, $18 I think is fair. Next, this one was beautiful, but it was so damaged. This is a vintage Dooney & Bourke shoulder bag. Dooney & Bourke is a high quality label. I typically don't deal with high-end purses, Coach, Dooney & Bourke, things like that, because there is such a high number of fakes, and I don't know enough about them to know for sure that I haven't been duped. This one in particular, though, I bought at a yard sale and I didn't spend very much money on it. It felt like quality. It was a heavyweight. It was also very unique. It was a blue and white stripe with a sailboat print, and then the inside was like a hot pink, like a flaming hot pink. And I thought that would be really difficult to duplicate and to replicate. So I went ahead and purchased it. I brought it home. And I looked it over and it looked like it had been spot treated, but not well. It had some like bleachy looking areas and some stained looking areas. But all in all, it was a really cute bag and I wasn't going to throw it out. So I went ahead and listed it for $39.99. I got an offer for $35 and I took it. It was too cute. How could you not want to carry that bag? It was adorable. Even with the damage, I would carry it again. Or I would carry it, I suppose. I can't say again because I didn't carry it in the first place. Next is another piece of St. John. Now, this is a basic from St. John, but it was a good size. It was a size extra large, and it had like a silver, almost a beaded, but not a beaded metal detail around the neckline. So even though it was a basic, I went ahead and listed it high. It was, I believe, silk on the front and viscose on the back, and just beautiful, classic. It sold for my, I think I had it listed at $49.99 and got an offer for $45, and it sold within the week I listed it. This is a big fail for me. Okay, so these are a pair of LL Bean flannel lined jeans, and I used to do very, very well with these. I used to sell them all the time and make $30 to $40 a pair, and they used to just sell like hotcakes out of my closet every winter, or out of my store every winter. They don't do that well anymore. People aren't looking for them. And this one was a big fail for me because I made a mistake. I made a big mistake. I listed them as a 14 and they were like a 10. Ugh. On top of that, they were a petite. Ugh. Nobody wants to buy a petite. That's not true. Some people want to buy petites, but it's not a big seller in my store in particular. So I went ahead and shipped them. I didn't realize I had made the mistake. The buyer came back and told me that there was a mistake, asked if, she wanted to return them. And my reply was, you know what, just keep them. Just keep them. Here's your money back. This was my error. They had been in my store for probably 5 years. 5 years. If I couldn't sell them and get $24 out of them in 5 years, you can keep them. I don't care what size they are. I didn't lose enough money on them to make it worth you shipping them back to me for me to try to eke another $20 out of them. Forget it. You can keep them. And typically, I will take a return if the item, if it's an item that I can resell. This was not going to resell again. I don't generally agree with giving somebody a refund and letting them keep the item, and I don't generally agree with refunding without a return. But in the 2 instances that I have here, one of the items was damaged that I couldn't fix to resell anyway, and the other item had already spent 4 or 5 years waiting to be sold. Just you keep it, donate it, do whatever you want to do with it. I'm out. Next is a Wolford turtleneck. It was a wool blend. It is just a basic. Wolford makes a lot of basic shirts, undergarments, camis, etc. that you can wear to work. That I think is basically sort of how they market to the working woman who wants to wear something that's classic. So this was just a solid black turtleneck, size large, which is a good size, and it was listed for $39.99, and I got an offer for $35. This is another one of those base layer shirts that we talked about before. This was the 3.0. The 4.0 was the latest version as of the last I looked. They may be by 5.0, 6.0 by now, whatnot. Anywho, this was an extra large. It did have a few flaws in it, so I went ahead and took an offer for $20. I initially had it listed for $29.99. This is a Lululemon At Ease Crew sweatshirt. It is a men's sweatshirt. I do find that I do significantly better with Lululemon items when they are men's. The women's Lululemon items take a lot to sell, take a lot to figure out what they are, and oftentimes they're only selling for $20 to $25, so not really worth the time and effort you need to put into it to get that sale. Anywho, I had this listed at $45 and I got an offer for $40. Went ahead and took that. Next is a Tory Burch shirt. So this I bought because it was a good pattern, a good print, and a good brand name. I also knew it's a shirt, it's a t-shirt. It's basically a long sleeve t-shirt. It's gonna sell for minimal cost. So it was an extra large. I listed it at $29.99 and I took an offer of $25. Here we go with the Lululemon for women. Like I said, generally they sell for me around $20 to $25. It takes a lot of time and effort to figure out what style you have, what size it is, etc. And the resale on it just isn't fantastic anymore. Once upon a time it was worth a lot more when it was a lot more scarce, but now it's pretty plentiful and they keep coming out with new stuff and there's a store everywhere. So they're just not as sought out as they once were. This was a Swiftly long sleeve tee. I had it listed at $29.99 and I got an offer for $25. I went ahead and took that. I think I'm almost at the last one. I am at the last one. This is a Torrid Studio Ghibli Spirited Away top. So Spirited Away is a cartoon graphic novel series put out by Studio Ghibli. And Torrid will often pair with other brands like Disney, Studio Ghibli, Nickelodeon, etc. And they make limited runs of branded items. And that's what this was. It was a size 1X, which is a 14-16. This one happened to be new with the tags. I did get it at a thrift store. And it sold within about a month and a half after being listed. Now I had it listed very high. I had it listed at $59.99, and the reason being is that there were no others listed whatsoever. And like I said, Torrid makes these in limited prints, so if you don't get it when they sell it, you're not gonna find it again, especially not new with the tags. But this one in particular sold, I had it listed, I believe, at $59.99, and I took a best offer of $40. So did pretty well with that. I'm trying to look back. There's a discrepancy between what my phone is showing me versus what the computer showed me. The computer said I had 51 items sold. The phone tells me I have 50. Regardless, over the month of March, from the 1st to the 31st, I sold a total of $2,047.98. Keep in mind that that includes taxes and shipping costs. So that is not a net total, that is a gross. And I typically calculate my net total by taking approximately 20% off. 20% off of that total sold number, because that 20% will encompass the fees from eBay, taxes I have to pay, shipping, and then cost of goods I can usually fit within about that 20%. But everybody is different. What I do, what you do, what anybody else does is different. So keep in mind that my outcomes may not be the same as yours, but I thought this would be fun to do. Let me know what you think. Did you learn something? Did you remember that I told you that Salesforce was worth something? Keep your eyes peeled. You might find it. Okay, guys, check out my store below, Chandra Law, the resale store of your dreams. And I'll catch you on the next one. Okay, bye, guys.